Hey guys, basically I'm back here, and today, right here, based on the title and thumbnail that you already saw, I have finally got the new Xsmart FNAF 4 Nightmare plushies. Specifically, Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Fredbear, and Nightmare. You know, Xsmart, I don't feel like I need to introduce them. I've made a bunch of review videos on their plushies and used their plushies in many of my videos, so I'm gonna do that anyway. But it's just as simple as Xsmart being a bootleg company, but actually makes good bootlegs. And they've been doing what Funko hasn't. They've actually been making characters that Funko has refused to make, such as the Wizards and Scraptrap, and now some of the FNAF 4 crew. Now there is still more to come, and we have been getting more reveals, such as Nightmarion and the rest of the salvages, since, you know, we already have Funko Lefty and Xsmart Scraptrap, and now we're getting Scrap Baby and Molten Freddy. And like I said, also Nightmarion, which I don't even know when that plush is releasing, because from the looks of all the videos we've had of it, it looks like 99% done. So I have no idea if that's been canned. I pray to God it hasn't, because it looks so good, both versions. So I don't know, but that's not what this video is about right now. It is about what's in this box, and I already told you what's in the box, and I'm not gonna waste any more time opening the box. Off camera cutting I did there, because if I did it on the other side is actually showing my address, and I don't want that. But you can obviously see right there, Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Fredbear, and Nightmare himself. I'm gonna get these guys out of the box. Get out! No! And here they are in their bags, because Xsmart likes doing bags, you know, that's their thing, I guess, outside of, well, I mean, YouTube does it too, but then again, I'm not getting into that conversation. Those two names don't go together. They don't go together well at all. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna actually just start this off by reviewing Nightmare Chica first, because she's the most simple character, just by the looks of it, and, you know, she's one of the most requested characters that Funko has never made, because they made the rest of the FNAF 4 crew, even Nightmare Cupcake, but they didn't make her. So, Xsmart, you're fulfilling and doing what Funko couldn't, for no reason. Pouring her out like that, and here is Nightmare Chica. Gotta say, I already love this plush. You guys, if you've also watched my Xsmart videos, you know I glazed the fuck out of them. So, you know, that is pretty much going to be the same thing. But I am going to be a little more critical, not just so I don't seem biased, because I most certainly am, but I'm not going to. I am going to explain my, like, you know, there are some faults I could have, and this is not really an Xsmart thing. Well, I mean, it is, but it's also like, it's just my own personal preference. I think the one thing is the amount of detail. It's absolutely incredible, you know, right off the bat. But if you put it next to the rest of the FNAF 4 Funko plushies, she just feels a little out of place. And that's just because this is kind of what I kind of hoped for when this plush was first revealed, that we would get two different versions, one with a lot of detail and one with not so much. Kind of like how, you know, they did with Wither Golden Freddy and Shadow Freddy. But, you know, that was kind of something just on my mind, and I never requested that, and I feel like it would be a little bit too much for them to do if they did that, because, you know, we already got 3 new ones in this wave, and I feel like adding an extra 4th to that of the same character would probably not have been easy. I'm surprised they were able to do it with Wither Golden Freddy and Shadow Freddy. But, you know, I'm actually gonna, you know, before I say anything more, I'm gonna prove or disprove my theory. Hold on. Yeah, I kind of proved my own point here, because, I mean, just look at them and look at her. This isn't saying that Nightmare Chica is a bad plush, because obviously what Xsmart can do is just make new Nightmare Bonnie, Freddy, and Foxy's, because, I mean, they can do that. There's nothing stopping them from doing that. This is just something I feel like Xsmart could have done just for the hell of it. But, you know, I'm glad that we got what we got, and it looks amazing. All the detail here is embroidered. Well, I mean, outside the bib, because, you know, the bib kind of has to be printed, or that's just the easiest way they can do it. And I actually like how they did the bib, because obviously Nightmare Chica's bib is torn, and they got the torn look down pretty well. Another thing they got down pretty well and perfect is the eyes. They actually gave a Nightmare Chica merch that finally has 2 eye colors correct. It was either red or blue, or gray and blue. Wait, what? Scratch that. It was gray and pink, at least for the mystery mini, and that's all I can think of at the top of my head. I like, you know, I like the color. I do think just based off my memory. Nightmare Chica's a little bit of a darker yellow, but this works. I'm not complaining that much. And they also did detail on the back with her endo right here, and it just looks really cool. And I also like the wires poking out of her. This plush just looks really cool. And I think they also, just looking at it more, I think they actually just reused their Withered Chica plush pattern, but altered it just a tiny bit. I mean, obviously they altered it, but I feel like it's like the head shape at the very least. And, the toes. And they gave her metallic toes, which, good thing, because Funko only ever did this for Toy Chica and no one else. Now, next one up, which I'm actually very excited to look at and hold, is Nightmare Fredbear, because videos and pictures, or just the pictures, have been looking great of this guy. Oh, I'm actually doing it one-handed, guys. Can you believe that? Maybe not. Get out! And here is Nightmare Fredbear. Finally, a Nightmare Fredbear plush. And jeez, this guy is really well detailed. I would say there's a little too much going on, but I think it works fine for a character like Nightmare Fredbear. Because, Nightmare Fredbear, kind of similar to how I see Golden Freddy, it's just my personal view. I see Golden Freddy as a very mysterious figure, but doesn't have... I mean, Freddy obviously has the most authority over everyone, but I see Golden Freddy as like a secret higher up, if that makes sense. That's my own headcanon, don't bully me for it. I see Nightmare Fredbear as that too, and it makes sense to me as to why he would have the most detail. But obviously that's just my own little headcanon that I just make up in my mind because I like thinking things. But this is just great. The color they got down right, and it just looks good. And I honestly don't even know what I could point out. I mean, that they actually gave him real buttons. They're not just embroidered buttons, which I guess that's also something that I'm just gonna say. All these plushies are have embroidered detail. Well, actually, Nightmare Fredbear here is the exception. I'm noticing. Hold on, wait. Let me feel. I can't tell. No, I think this might be a tiny bit printed. But it also might be... No, that's definitely printed. Yeah, Nightmare Fredbear, whether you think unfortunately or not, this guy does have a lot more printing than the most. And that's just because of the embroidered withering. All the withering is embroidered, but the brown spots here aren't because they just it would just be it's kind of the same reason Funko printed one of the knee joints on the Rockstar Foxy plush, because the embroidery would just be too much and it would just mess that part up. And I'd rather take this, and I'm still glad with this because everything else on this plush looks immaculate. But I feel like they should have maybe done something on the back to kind of to just make it seem balanced, I guess, because you look at Nightmare Fredbear on the front, it's like, oh my god, and then you look at the back and it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's nothing bad. Let me just be clear. Everything I'm saying here can be, give or take. It's just a nitpick or just my opinion. And I'm not saying it's bad. This is a good plush. I really like this plush. And I really like, the color that they use. And I actually like the material they use for the hat, because it's a very shiny metallic fabric. Not one that I've used, I don't think. Something similar at the very least, but I haven't used this, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so weird to have a plush of this guy, because, Nightmare Fredbear is one of those characters that you think would be very hard, and honestly, he is a very hard plush to get right, I think. I would say even the one that I made is not all that great, but even so, it's Xsmart did what they could, and they this was a very, very good attempt. That's what I'll say. That's what I'll leave this plush at. I guess I should mention, though, the teeth detail. I like the stomach teeth and the just normal teeth. It just looks cool. It's good. I like it. Good job, Xsmart. Now, the final one is Nightmare, which it makes sense that Xsmart would do this because they made Nightmare Fredbear. They only had to... It makes sense that they do this. And here is Nightmare. I actually like this guy a little more than Nightmare Fredbear. I think it's just the fact that, Nightmare is just a purely black bear or version of Nightmare Fredbear, and they actually went all out in making all the withering detail that's on Nightmare Fredbear. Same with here, but they made it gray so it pops out, obviously. But it doesn't feel out of place though, and I guess it's a good thing that since Nightmare is a purely black character, that he doesn't have any bad printing or really any printing at all. Just based off of what I can see. Yeah, this is all embroidered detail here. just based off the looks, you know. Nightmare Fredbear obviously needed the printing, because I mean, just come on, he just kind of needed it, you know. I'll let Xsmart off with that one. But Nightmare Fredbear here, from the looks of it, has no printing. It's all embroidered detail, and obviously he has, you know, real buttons there. Nightmare is cool. Also, mine for some reason looks like he has a much more proportional face. I don't know why that is. I mean, so Nightmare Fredbear honestly looks like he was slightly wrecked by a truck. I forgot to even mention the tags, but honestly, there's not much more I could say. It's the same background that they've used with the Princess Quest of FNAF 1 background, and you know, it's a tag. It does what it needs to. It's definitely better than whatever AI generated image they use for their first few tags. And you know, I actually just realized something. On the top here, I don't know if this is just an error for me, but, you know, there's this little line at the top, and for Nightmare Chica, it's orange. Nightmare Fredbear, it's red, and Nightmare just doesn't have it. I guess it pertains to the theme, Nightmare Chica having this orange line, because she's kind of, I get, not really orange, but, you know, there's orange characteristics. Red, because I guess it's just a color that suits Nightmare Fredbear, but Nightmare just has nothing because he's black. And just for fun, here's what they look like next to the FNAF 4 Funko plushies. I do have Nightmare Cupcake. I just didn't, you know, actually, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna bring them out. Now they're complete. Anyways, guys, that is gonna be it for this little review here, and it's Xsmart. I don't feel like I need to say the final result or my final opinion. They're all amazing, because, you know, even though I did give more critiques for these guys than I have with any of their others, I do still really like them. I'm finally glad we have somewhat official, well, not official, we have somewhat good looking Funko comparable plushies of these characters, because, you know, we have others like U2s and I guess Hex at some point to make these characters, but you know, nothing's gonna beat what Xsmart has for Funko fans. And even if you're not a Funko fan, I mean, come on, these guys are just kind of a little cool. If you still are one of those people that pry on the fact that you don't like these because they're bootleg specifically just because of that, then I'm sorry, you're kind of a loser. But obviously, like I said, Xsmart is making a Nightmarion, and they pretty much have, and I don't know when that's releasing. Same with the two salvages, Mona Freddy and Scrap Baby. I don't know when those are going to be done. They're just like in the very early stages of production, I would say. So it's going to be probably a little bit before we see those again. But then again, I got sources from my friend Jaden, and who got his sources from someone else that I don't remember the name of nor care to mention in this video, because I don't want to dig too deep into this. That's not my job. Apparently, Xsmart went away for quite a while just because they were working on a lot at the same time, and they wanted to prep up a lot, I would assume, so they can release it all. Take that with a grain of salt, though, because that's from Jaden's words, not mine. But anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you know, it's been review this and review that, but you know, this is what you're getting, so be happy. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I enjoyed these plushies. Xsmart, you're great. Okay, I'm gonna leave. Goodbye.
I stay lit, not like flickering lights. Good vibes and good times go well like chicken with rice. Squad goes, it's me, myself, and I, and just like smart homes. Trust me, the whole club know I arrived. I just wanna step over a velvet rope and people yell my name like a welcome home. Shower me in love, my umbrella's closed. The club going up just like how swellings grow. Put on my finest pair of clothes, club so packed I could barely move. Stepping on my pair of shoes, but I don't care, cause I'm still gassed up like I'm full of dairy.